Welcome to episode 12 of the Starketer. Now, after what can only be described as a long weekend induced lack of creativity, normal service has resumed once again this week and we are providing a brand new instalment. And I wanted to dive straight into something that's been on my mind through a lot of what we've spoken about actually over the course of this year. I've done a lot of speaking about content, and specifically top of the funnel content, all about building trust and building that brand awareness. But one thing that's kind of stuck in my mind, and perhaps something that I've been guilty of not thinking about enough, is content beyond that first stage in the funnel. So whether that is supporting content through the middle or really to help push people over the line. But most importantly, I think, and something that I wanted to mention in this week's installment, is the importance of content post-sale. It costs on average 25 times more to win a new client than retain one. So surely that should be reflected in the content and marketing that we're producing, in making sure that once we've won that business, we keep that business. So something that I've been looking at doing at Ansell over the past few weeks is all about that user journey. So straight away from that first email they receive, add in some value as a new user rather than just sending login credentials. When there needs to be perhaps a support query, making sure that they feel supported throughout that process. Or when a new project arises and they perhaps want to expand on their current installment, that they know precisely how that development work is progressing, invites them to get involved and share any further thoughts and ideas of how to enhance that work, and ultimately keep them engaged. And I think that's something that we can all think about in our businesses, is that rather than just focusing on the top, which it can be so easy to do, especially when it comes to revenue, is think about retention. Because if we can retain and negate any sort of churn rate that is the plight of so many SaaS businesses, suddenly those revenue figures become a bit more stable, and so all of that great marketing we're doing at the top of the funnel helps filter down into increases in revenue across the board. Now, moving on to our key learning for this week, and this has actually come from a mentoring conversation I've been having over the past few months, so shout out to Susanna for those. But one thing that we spoke about this week was when we're conducting a new project or investing in a new research piece, is addressing our unconscious bias that may affect how we perceive those results. Now, as humans, we're quite inquisitive anyway, and when we're posed a question, we always think, well, maybe it's that, or maybe it's this. But even having that is something that we need to consider when putting together a new marketing project. Let's imagine that we're thinking about our clients or our pool of prospects that we're maybe going into a new vertical. If we imagine, they're going to be interested in X, Y, Z, that means we should produce content on X, Y, Z. Is that grounded in evidence, or is that just what our preconceived ideas tell us? And I think the key learning really there is just to think about how we can address our preconceived ideas when moving forward with any project to ensure that we're not projecting our thoughts over their lived experiences. Now, rounding this week's episode off with a nice little bit of inspiration, and it had to come in relation to the opening of the pubs on Monday, which I'm sure we've been all grateful for. Now, there's been so much great content about this, and the Tesco ad in particular got a load of publicity. But I just really liked the tweet from Innocent Smoothies, which I'll just drop a picture of in the comments and let that do the talking. It just seemed to really resonate. It was clear what it was talking about and helped sort of tap into that psyche that maybe we might have lost a bit of practice from having all this time away from the pubs. Now, thanks so much for watching this week's episode. We'll continue talking about how content can support the customer journey next week. I hope to see you there. Thanks very much for watching.